My dad's favorite subject has always been history, so it was a no-brainer for me to take him to the 3 Dikgosi monument so that we learn more about the Botswana history.
From which country? Zimbabwe. Okay, you came with both them hands. And also you're free to take photos. Also you're free to ask questions. The monument is called the 3 Dikgosi monument. It's the Kossi's chiefs. Like here now, monument got close to 6 pillars. The first 3 are this side, the last 3 are on the other side. Then you've got the statues. When I went towards the 3 chiefs, if you need a photo of you appearing with them, you'll give me the camera to take a picture of you appearing with them, so that when we arrive in Zimbabwe, if you are still here, we can still send those pictures at home to show that really you are here in Botswana. The pictures we are appearing with them are not for the Photoshop, are not for the internet, are the real deal. Like myself, as I'm here, I am a Botswana from the ethnic group called Baleta from Botswana. Like in our country, we've got close to 15 tribes. The people of this country are called Botswana. The country, Botswana. The national language is Botswana. The official language is English, which is mostly used in our government office to run the business affairs. And this guy is roughly is the same as Kenya, France, and even as Texas in the US. Surface area for this country, it's a 581,000 something square kilometers. And this country of Botswana, it's entirely landlocked, and it's bordered by its neighbors, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Namibia. And this country of Botswana also, it's 84% covered by Kalahari Desert, and most of its population is settled in the east and southeast of this country. Coming to the first pillar here, picture here just shows a holding axe together with a spear. The name of the pillar is called Botswana in Setswana. As this Botswana refers to refuge. So during those times, 1820s to 1830s, there were those wars called for different times. As the way the time here, it's a word used in the country called for Lesotho, or in English, you can just say it was a times of troubles. This wars started downside in South Africa, where they were including a gentleman called for Shaka Zulu, and also by the time here the Boers of the Dutch, they were also included. And the Boers, they wanted to grab everything what the black people were having at the time. As the black people, they're just in this kind of material that was holding, which is excellent to get out of space. And it wasn't enough for them to stand up against the Boers. That's when the black people were trying to save dollars around from the Boers. The money around from the Boers, that's when they left homeless. And also, famine was included because they started for themselves to eat. Because most of the time they were running for dollars. So the money running for dollars, that's when they're arriving here in Botswana. When they arrived here, that's when they were given this refuge, but there was always success for those times. And even at the moment, here in our country, we've got the refugee camp. When we're going towards the northeast of this country, when we're going towards Kasai, there is a place called the Tukwi. We've got close to 3,000 refugees. Some of them are from Somalia, some of them are from DRC, some of them are from Eritrea, and the Angolans were here before. But the Angolans, they went back to their original country. It seems like those political issues, things have gone back to normal, then they've gone back to their country. And here, second pillar picture just shows a typical Botswana chief here, seated on a chair. During those times, our chiefs were just in some traditional attire. And they were also the Ndebelés and Boers invaders. The Ndebelés and Boers by that time, they wanted to rule. They wanted to grab this Botswana country. Because way back, we Botswana, we were ruled by the chiefs. So already by the time the Ndebelés and Boers, they were having those guys as our chiefs. By the time, there is some traditional medicine and witchcraft. Witchcraft starts to strengthen themselves, they can stand up against their enemies. So as the time goes on, there was a chief called for Chief Sechena from the Babina tribe in Molepolole. Molepolole is going to go to the west of this country. It's about close to 50 kilometers to go to the place. Chief Sechene, he managed to use this kind of system, the battering system. He managed to give the white gentlemen from Britain some ostrich feathers together with the elephant ivory. And they gave him some guns, and from those guns, he managed to defend the Ndebelés and Boers invaders. The Ndebelés, originally, they're from South Africa. They were the same kind with the Zulus, up until they ran from the Zulus because of the wars of this time. So they ran to a country called for Zimbabwe at the moment. Before the country was called for Zimbabwe, it was called the Matabele land. from the Matebele up until come Zimbabwe at the moment. The Ndebeles, they were led by the gentleman called from Mzilikazi. As the name Mzilikazi means the great road. The Boers, originally they're from Europe. Whether from Europe, they're from the country called the Netherlands or Holland, up until they come and reside in South Africa in Cape Town. Then from here, we are proceeding to the third pillar. Now we are coming to the third one. Picture here just shows a man here stressing a point like he's saying power to the people. Here it was time for scramble for Africa. Whereby by then, the European countries were dividing themselves against the African countries, them or to protect them. By the time this Botswana country was not protected or colonized, because the white men just thinking this Botswana country as a desert, or they just this country as a trade route to pass by to countries where they think they'll find some minerals. At the end of the day, the print is called Cyril, as this Cyril refers to protection. So during those times, 1880s to 1890s, by the time here, there was this man called Cecil John Rhodes. Cecil John Rhodes, he was a wealthy man and ruthless by the time. He owns large shares in mining South African Kimberley, and he also owns a company called the British South African Company. By the time Cecil Rhodes, he was ruling the modern Zimbabwe and Zambia. And those two countries, way back, they were named after him. Zambia was called Northern Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, Southern Rhodesia. Like the name itself, Rhodesia. Let us dismantle it. The surname for Cecil is Rhodes. When we add this I and A, makes Rhodesia. This I, it stands for in. This A, it stands for Africa. Rhodes in Africa. So as the time goes on, Cecil Rhodes wanted to rule from Cape Town to Cairo, the whole country of Africa, because of his ruling. And people of those places were against his ruling because they have seen what they've done in Zimbabwe. That time Cecil Rhodes, he doesn't care about how people are living. He only cares about his own things. Yes, he felt that side, that's when he needed to rule or to grab this Botswana country. Because by the time Cecil Rhodes, he wanted to combine this Botswana country together with Zimbabwe so it can be one country. That's when these three chiefs, they managed to go to Britain to seek for the protection for this country. And they were given that protection in 1895 by the Secretary, Mr. Joseph Chamberlain, together with the Queen. The Queen by that time, she was called Queen Victoria. So, way back, because South Africa was more advanced than us, when these three chiefs went to Britain, they were using this kind of mode of transport to go to South Africa. This kind of mode of transport to go to South Africa. There in Cape Town, they came some ship to stay through to Britain. They took 23 days to arrive in Britain. Then, in those years of them, they were still going to the country called Botswana. Those were the north, they were going to be Zimbabwe, south of South Africa. So, we ended up being the Botswana of the three chiefs. So, at the end of the day, this place was just built as one of the three chiefs. And it's not like they were tall like this. This tallness, just to show you how far away to find the spaces. The attire, the way they are, they were the same like this the moment they went to Britain. They were empowered by the missionaries. The material, which was just made statues in their purpose. And even the way they appear in their faces, they were the same. Like in our 12%, like in our country, our currency is called these riches are one who are appearing in our 100 Canadian Botswana. The first one is called Kamad the Great. He is the grandfather to our first president, then the great grandfather to the previous president. Is the son to our first president, They're from Seroe. Seroe is going to the center of this country. The second one is called Cyril the First. Son of Cyril the First, he's from a tribe in Molepolole. Molepolole is going to go to the west of this country. Then the last one is called Atwen the First, son of Hasitso the First. He's from a tribe in Kanye. Kanye is going to go to the south of this country, where our second president originates, who was buried in 2017 around July 2nd, 2000. Like this Kamal third is the eldest one, followed by Sibili, then the youngest one is Batui. Then it also goes vice versa according to who died first. The youngest one Batui died first, followed by Sibili, then the eldest one died last. Here, it just shows our national emblem or our coat of arms. For an example, here in our country, each and every tribe got its own totem. Like here, we've got two zebras. The two zebras, they represent our tourism in Botswana. Elephant ivory, together with the corveils for mining at the top, they represent our industry in Botswana. Then there's a cow, together with the sorghum, They represent our agriculture in Botswana. In the middle, there's some waves, and those waves are just water waves. At the bottom, there's the word pula here. The word pula here represents our currency. The word pula here is a Setswana word. It refers to rain. Also, the word pula here, it is the slogan that is mostly used by our political leaders in Botswana. Before they can start some meetings or some sessions, they shout the word pula here. And those who attend follow after them, shouting the same slogan by saying pula. Can you say pula?
Pula.
Then about our flag, we find it when we're going outside. First color at the flag is the blue color, which represents the sky. Second color is the white color chosen in our country. All tribes are equal. Third color is the black color representing Botswana. Then there's another white color chosen in our country. There's still peace. The last color is the blue color representing water. I think that is all about our flag. After Francis Town, is it plum tree or bulawaii? Between the two, which is
plum tree.
Yeah. So I think that's why you didn't see the sorrow because we are flying. But if we are using,
I just read about Sero. That it was the home area for the first president.
Definitely. Definitely, sir. Yeah, that's why you didn't see it. But if you're using the road, we're going to say the place. Yeah. So, like coming to the first one here, picture here just shows a Botswana woman here putting the basket on top of her head. Hey baby and hey baby. Here in the front of Shatar. When women were left behind to look after their kids, while gentlemen went to the South African men went for their families and even for the tax. As you can see here, it's a woman here. It also shows also women played a part in the nation building of this country. The plinth is called the Bulitoko in Setswana, as this Bulitoko refers to endurance. So during those times, 1990s, 1930s, by the time here, this country was called of Botswana, landed in Botswana. Lesotho was called of Basotho, landed in Lesotho. Swaziland was called of Swaziland, and Swaziland now is now called Eswatini. And by the time here, there was a Scottish gentleman called Robert Moffat. Robert Moffat ended up writing the Bible for Setswana. Instead of saying Botswana land, he ended up saying Botswana land. Because he was a white gentleman, so the pronunciation. And by the time he became as poor, times were tough, but communities grew through some days. The gentleman who was the principal interpreter or the advisor for these three chiefs, Mr. William Charles Willowdale, ended up building a school in South Africa near Vryburg. The school was called for Tiger Field, whereby many Botswana benefited from that school, including our first president, second president, Asire, former minister of education, Dr. Hausi Chepe, and even the composer of our national anthem, Kalaman Kimeli, and other Botswanas benefited from that school. The moment whereby the school has existed, also racial discrimination or apartheid was extinct in South Africa. The school managed to apartheid. The Botswanas who understand managed to come back home. When they arrive here, that's when they managed to build some schools and homes. Right now, 3 of them are still existing. We've got the one in Molepolole, which is called the Bakwena National School. The second one is in Kokwe, which is called the Bakwena National School. While the third one is just in Muchudi. The one in Muchudi has been transformed to be the museum. The museum is just on top of the hill Muchudi, one of the dams from the dams which they have built, which is still existing. We've got the one called of Makoduma Dam in Kanye. But so after this Makoduma Dam, there was this introduction of water standard pipes. The introduction of water standard pipes started downside in Kanye up until it goes to the place of this Republic of Botswana. Coming to the fifth one here, picture here just shows a soldier here in action. Here it was time for the Second World War. As the first one, it started in 1914 to 1918. Second one, 1939 to 1945. 10,000 of Botswana men went to the Second World War fight. They just went there just to support or to appreciate what the British have done for us. Because the British end up supporting us up until again that protection that we were talking about from that dead period. When they went there, they went as far as North Africa, Middle East and Europe. When they went there, they don't know nothing about guns. They just went to do some logistic works like building some roads, cooking for the British, and even doing some first aid jobs. Unfortunately, here 210 of Botswana men perished that side. Some of them were victims by the guns. Some of them were affected by lungs like TB. As you know, in guns, there's some chemicals or powders. That's when you inhale those powders or chemicals, that's when they were affected. Those who are left, they managed to come back home. When they arrive here, that's when they were called the war veterans. At the moment, 28 of them are still alive. And those who are still alive, every month they're just being given some allowance by the government so they can sustain their lives. And those who passed away, Those powers are the one who are benefiting from those loans from the government. Coming to the last one here, picture just shows a young and sophisticated lady here holding the national flag of this Republic of Botswana. The country is called Botswana. As this Botswana refers to independence. Like every on the 30th of September, we Botswana are celebrating independence. 2016, it was our golden jubilee, as it was a big celebration of our country. Last year, celebrations were not the same like other years because of COVID-19. 1965, many political parties here in Botswana were formed. Most of them collapsed because that years were not taking much to do about politics. The only party that managed to stand for its feet is the one which is still here at the moment, which is called Botswana. During that 65, first elections of Botswana were held. BDP won those elections. Zimbabwe became the first prime minister of this country. After the election in 1966, so Botswana achieved all sorts of independence. And maybe that was a reality. Or maybe they said what is great was maybe the time for societal rules. Maybe the diamonds that people are benefiting from them at the moment, maybe will never benefit from them. That's what I'm saying. So there is not again independence. While you are on a home, the following year 1967, that is when the diamonds were discovered in Botswana in Orapa. In the process of nation building and development up until today. Of the development that is in Botswana around the 50s. It was put a road from the railway line going to the High Court of Botswana. The High Court that I'm talking about is relocated to Gaborone. Is the one which is known as a city. So way back, we Botswana, our first capital city, it was called Mafikeng in South Africa. Like in South Africa, there is some provinces. While in our country, there is some districts. This landform, which is called the Northwest Province, which includes Mafikeng, it was part of Botswana. Because of that apartheid and that's in South Africa, that is when they end up being part of Northwest. The tribes in our country, mostly from the Northwest province. We've got some relatives that are in South Africa. After Mafikeng, that is when Lobatse became our second capital city. Lobatse is about 67 kilometers from Gaborone, while going down south. Even our first radio station, Radio Botswana, it started down that town of Lobatse. That town of Lobatse also got much east. The late former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, he was given a political asylum on that town of Lobatse by family of Fish Kids, together with the late former president of Mozambique, Samara Machel. He was also being given a political asylum on that town of Lobatse by family of Kabesi. Then after Lobatse, that is when Gaborone became our permanent capital city. The area which we are in right now, it's our new central business district, our new city. So, way back, we Botswana, we were in December for Britain during our first independence. On the 30th of September 1966, here in Gaborone, at the National Stadium, a cousin to Queen Elizabeth, she came here to come and veil the flag that we're using right now. She was called for Princess Maria. Even here in Gaborone, it was the hospital called Princess Maria. It was named after her. The moment you pull that one from Britain down, pulling the one from Botswana up, the rain poured that day. That is why our currency is called Pula, and in Australia it's called Pula. And everyone needs snow water. In the snow water, we can't survive because water is life. I think this is the end of our chapter. I think from the starting point till the end, I think now we have an idea about the history of Botswana. I think on top of it also on yourself, I think if you get back to Zimbabwe, we also invite other Zimbabweans to come and visit Botswana. So what is happening here? This place is open for everybody. Whether you are Botswana or you are outside this country, you are still allowed to come and visit, have the information and you can still visit, come and get us some photos. Even if I have some weddings, you can still come get some wedding photos here. Even if I get bored at home, like during the rest of family, you can still come with the food, doesn't come with like some shades here. Even if I still at school, you can still come and do your school assignments. After